Powders are can be defined as very finely divided powder drugs or the chemicals which are mixed in together in the dry form, which meant for the application in the internal as well as the external purpose. So these powders are the mixture of finely divided material like drugs as well as any other chemical in the complete dry form, and they are applied or utilized for as a internal or a external. Internal means which powders we are taking internally through the oral route, and externally means those powders which we are applying on the skin, like your talc dusting powder is there, we can apply it on the your skin. Now the advantages of the your powder. In the advantages of powder, we can say that as a powder are solid dosage form and they are very fine particles. So compared to the liquid dosage forms, your powders are very good stable one, or they are having the chemically stability compared to the liquid dosage forms. As well as sometimes suppose any drug's dose is very large, then that dose of the drug can be given in the form of powders. So we cannot prepare the uh, tablet, or sometimes we cannot fill up it inside that capsule. So in this case we can prepare its open dosage form like a powder. So it is useful for the bulky drugs with the large dose. For example, some indigestion powders are there which require the large dose like 2 gram, 3 gram. So in this case, we cannot prepare the tablet of that dosage form, or we cannot prepare the capsule, because there is a limitation in the tablet and capsule. Up to the 1 gram, we can prepare the tablet as well as the capsule. So beyond that 1 gram, suppose you want to prepare any dose of any drug, then we have to choose the such kind of powders. Another advantage of the powder is that they are very easy to swallow even in the large bulk. When we are preparing them into the solution form, then we can easily take that powders. So prior to administration, we can dissolve it into the glass of water and we can administer. So in case of the stability, if we think, the liquid dosage forms are very much prone for the attack of the microbes. So microorganisms can easily attack, and they can cause the problem with your drug in the form of liquid state. But in case of the solid dosage forms, so there is a very rare chances that microorganism will not attack on the your solid dosage forms. That's why compared to the liquid, your solid dosage forms are more stable. As well as another thing is that when we are thinking about the liquid dosage forms, or when we are dissolving any drug into the vehicle and we are preparing the solution or the suspension, so in this case, when your drug is in dissolved state or in the ionic form, so in that case your drug is having the more chances that it can react with the any other substance. So by this way also it can lose its stability. But in case of the solid form, drug is not in the ionic form, drug is in the solid form. That's why there are the lesser chance that your drug is reacting with the other substance. So in simple way, we can say the solid form is not reactive as well as your ionic form, or ionic form is more reactive compared to the solid state. So that's why we can say that the solid form of the drug is always stable microbiologically also and chemically also. Another thing, the smaller particle size of the powder causes more rapid dissolution in the body fluid, which can increase the drug viability and decreases the gastric irritation compared to the tablets. Suppose we are comparing the powders with the tablet. As you know, tablet is the solid unit dosage form. When it is reaches to the stomach, firstly it will get breakdown, and then it will get it will try to dissolve inside the your gastric fluid, and then it will start the absorption. But in case of the powders, as powders particles are already separated one, they are not bounded with each other. So as your powder is reaches to the stomach, so it will start readily dissolution because already it is present in the smaller particle size form. So compared to the tablet and capsule, your powder dosage forms are having the rapid dissolution, as well as it will dissolve very fast compared to the tablets, and it will be absorbed from the stomach, and you will get the result quick than your tablet and capsules. Now the disadvantages of the powders. So suppose you are thinking about the various demerits of your powders, then one thing is that regarding the dose, we can say that your tablet powders is not having the fixed dose. Okay, so there is the always mistakes in the measurement of the dose compared to the tablet and capsule. So there is the first disadvantage of the your tablet that we cannot measure the accurate dose. Another thing is that there is the always misunderstanding regarding the utilization of that powders. Okay, so generally whenever we are utilizing the internal dosage form of the powder, or when we want to take internally your powder, so in this case first of all we have to dissolve the powder into the cup of water, and then we have to administer. So many times people are not having the clear cut idea about the administration way of your powders. Then sometimes suppose the drug is too much bitter or the unpleasant, so in this case we cannot mask the taste of that drug, and it is very difficult to administer the bitter drugs in the form of powder dosage form. Suppose sometimes your powders are hygroscopic in nature or the deliquescent in nature. Hygroscopic means those powders which are having the tendency to absorb the moisture from the environment. So in this case, such kind of powders are very much difficult to protect, or such kind of powders will absorb the moisture from the environment, and they can cause the microbial growth inside your dosage form. Suppose some powders are deliquescent in nature. So in this case, deliquescent powder can try to get melt when they are exposing to the environmental conditions or the humidity. So such kind of powders which are having the deliquescent nature, they can cause the melting problem, and we cannot utilize such kind of powders. So we have to avoid the such kind of problems when you are preparing the dosage form of the such kind of deliquescent or the hygroscopic type of powder. Generally, sometimes we are preparing the separated sachets of the powders. So it is required to prepare such kind of sachets for the exact measurement of the dose. Otherwise, if you are keeping the bulk form of the tablet powder, and you are saying that to the patient that you measure the dose by the spoon, then it could be difficult to measure the approximate dose of that powders. So this is another disadvantage. Another problem of the powder is that we cannot mix all the material together in homogeneous, or the all all the ingredients of that powder very difficult to mix homogeneously. So this is the disadvantage of that powders. Sometimes suppose the powder's particle size is different. Suppose we are mixing the 3 to 4 ingredients with each other, and we are preparing the powder dosage form. So in this case, the particle size of the all the ingredients must be the same. Suppose some ingredients are larger in particle size, some ingredients are having the very fine size. Then when we are mixing that powders and we are delivering to the patients, so in that case during transportation or during administration of the powders, those ingredients with the different particle size will get separated from each other. So there will not be uniform mix form of that powders. So it can cause the inaccuracy in the dose of that powders. Now the types of your powders. There are the two types of powders. First is the divided powders. Another one is the bulky powders or undivided powders. In the divided powders, there are the packets, cachets, as well as the capsules. So they are called as the divided powders. It means your powder or the dose of that powders is divided into the different parts. So they are called as the divided powders. Or simply suppose we have having the bulk powder and we have prepared the number of doses from that divided powders, then it is called as a divided powder. Then bulk powders means there is no any specific dose of that powder, like dusting powder as well as effervescent powder, antacid powder, laxatives powders, or dietary powders, nutrient supplement powder. So here approximate dose is taken while administration of that powders, so we cannot measure the proper dose of that powder. In the divided powders, another form is there, that is the oral divided powder are there. It may contain the one or more active ingredients together with an inert diluent to produce the minimum quantity of the 120 milligram. So they are called as the oral divided powder. It means 120 milligram dose is required to prepare the oral divided powder. Now, oral undivided powders are also there. They are usually a simple mixture of the prescribed medication without additional ingredients. So, these are the another two types. Now, the particle size of the powders. Generally, the powders are having the different names along with as per its sizes. So, your particle size of the powders is having the different form, like very coarse, moderately coarse, fine, and very fine. These are the, we can say, terminologies we are using to define the particle size in our pharmaceutical field. Very coarse means larger particles, coarse means moderately larger particles, moderately coarse means medium size large particles, fine means very small particle, very fine means very small particles. So these are the, we can say, various terminologies we have given to the size of that particles depending on their dimension and shape. So these are related to the proportion of powder that is capable of passing through the openings of standard sieves shaker. Actually, we are using the sieves to pass the your powders, and we can say, passing that any kind of powder from any sieve, and that sieve is having the perfect number, and those powders which are passing from that sieve, we used to give the number to that powder, or we used to indicate the designation of that powder, like whether it is coarse powder, whether it is fine powder, like that. See, when the we are saying into the any powder that this powder is very coarse, it means that powder is having the very larger particle size. So that powder will be called as the very coarse. So for that powder, how can we have defined that powder is very coarse? When we have taken that powder and passed through the sieves. So sieve number 8, okay, sieve number 8 is utilized to filter that powders. So in this case, the condition is that all the particle pass through a number 8 sieve, and not more than 20% particles are passes through the sieve number 60. So when we are taking this powder and we have found that when we are passing this powder through the sieve number 8, then all the particles are passing, and when we are passing this same powder from the sieve number 60, and we can say that only uh, not more than 20% particles are not passing, then we can say this powder is called as the very coarse. So by this way, we have taken the another sieves like sieve number 20 and sieve number 60. Suppose the all particles passes through sieve number 20, and only 40% particles are passes from sieve number 60. Then such kind of powder is called as coarse powder. So by this way, these are the we can say names given to the your powders, like moderately coarse, then fine, very fine. So these are the different names to the powders given as per the particle size present in that powder. Generally, powders are prepared as a divided powders and bulk powders, which are mixed with water prior to administration, as well as the dusting powders are there, like which are applied directly or locally on your wounds or the skin. Then some other powders are called as the dentifrices. It means tooth powder, which are utilized for the cleaning of your tooth. And some insufflations are there, which are administered into the various body cavities like ear, nose, depending on the requirement. So these are the main four types of your powders generally we are preparing, like divided powders, bulk powders, dusting powders, dentifrices and insufflations. Now the divided powders are dispensed in the form of individual doses and generally are dispensed in the papers and properly folded uh, strips. They are also maybe dispensed in the metal foil, small heat sealed plastic bags, as well as any other containers. So divided powders means that your bulk form of the powder is simply divided into the different dose or the unit dose, and they are provided to the patient like 20 sachets or 10 sachets like that. Now, how to prepare the your divided powders? Generally, divided powders are prepared. Just first of all, we have to take your all the ingredients which are given in the your formula, your drug, your diluting agents, and any other if it is required. Then after that, we have to measure the weight of that ingredients, whether as per the formula you have weighed it properly or not. Then after that, we have to mix it properly by using the your instrument. In our laboratory, we are using the mortar and pestle, and then after the uh, homogeneous mixing is achieved, then we have to uh, mix that all the powders and we have to pass it through the sieves. And again, suppose we want to reduce the size of that particles or we want to mix it, then again we can mix it. Then after that, we have to divide the that whole powder approximately into the different dose. So just add your powder on the flat surface and make it cylindrical and cut that powder into the different dose. So simply we have to equally divide that all the powders into the different dose. That is called as the divided powders. And then after that, we can fill that divided single doses into the sachet, or we can use the folded paper also. In that also we can administer that dose, and then that all the doses we can deliver to the your patient in the one single big container. There are another powder papers are there, like vegetable parchment paper is there, white bond paper is there, glassine paper is there, as well as waxed paper is there. This kind of papers we are utilizing for filling the single dose of your powder. Sometimes we require to use the waxy papers or the laminated papers to avoid the hygroscopic powders problem, because some powders are hygroscopic in nature, so they can absorb the moisture from the environment. So in that case, we have to use the waxy papers which can avoid the entry of moisture from the environment into your powder. Then bulk powders are there. Bulk powder means there is no any fixed dose. Simply we are preparing, suppose 100 gram of the powders, and daily we are using the approximate dose of that powder. So there is no any, you can say, specific unit Just by utilize with the help of spoon, we can use the your bulk powders, or sometimes we can squeeze the container like your dusting powder is there, an approximate quantity we can use. These bulk powders are also utilized for the oral, for the cleaning of the teeth, then for the skin purpose, then for the wound purpose, then sometimes their same powders we can utilize for the eye cavity purpose or nose cavity purpose. So depending on that utilization, we are having the different oral powders or the different bulk powders. So bulk powders which are utilized depending on their utilization, we can have their classification. So in the classification, we can say bulk powders are divided into the oral powders, dentifrices, Dodges, dusting powder, insufflations, and triturations. Then, what are the oral bulk powders? Oral bulk powders are supplied in the finely divided powders or in the effervescent granules form. So they are finely divided powders and intended to be suspended or dissolved in the water before the administration. Then examples are some antacid powders are there, some laxative powders are there, which are administered through the oral route. Then dusting powders are there. Dusting powders are generally applied on your wounds or the affected part of your skin. So directly we have to squeeze that container and we can sprinkle that powder. That's why it is called as the dusting powders. While sprinkling that powders, the some parts of that powders or the fine particles will be float inside the your air. So because of that, it is called as the dusting powder, or it produces the simply dust while application. That's why it is called as the dusting powder. So there are some requirements regarding the dusting powder, that when you are preparing the dusting powder, then all the particles must have the very fine particle size, as well as the dusting powder should not be irritant to your skin. Then after that, it should be easily come out from your container when you are squeezing it. So there should be a very good flow property to all the particles. Then your powder must have the good covering property. When we are applying it on your skin, then easily it should spread out throughout your wound and it should cover all the parts of your skin. Then your dusting powder must have the good adsorptive property and absorptive capacity. It means when you are applying it on your wound, so sometimes it should absorb the some secretions of that wound very fast, and it should remain on your skin. So it should have the good adsorptive and good absorptive capacity. Then it should properly adhere to your skin. When you are applied on your skin, it should not fall down easily. Then after that, it should protect your skin and it should not cause any kind of irritation to your wound as well as to your skin. So these are the normal, we can say, requirements to your dusting powder. It means when you are preparing the dusting powder, then it should have such kind of properties, that dusting powder must have the very fine particle size. When you are applying the dusting powder, it should easily come out from your container. Then it should cover all your wound very easily. It should spread on your wound very easily, as well as it should absorb some secretions of your wound very fast, and it should maintain the dry condition of your wound, as well as it should protect your wound as well as skin from the environmental conditions. So these are the normal requirements or the ideal properties of your dusting powder. Generally, application of the dusting powder, we can say, they are applied directly by sprinkling on your wound or your skin. When you are applying the dusting powders on the wounds, then we have to make the one correction, that or we have to sterilize your powders when we are applying it on your open wounds, because suppose the powder is having some microorganism, then they can reach into your wound. So that's why in case of the dusting powders, when you have prepared the dusting powder, then it should be sterilized prior to utilization. Now sterilization means what? Sterilization means killing of the microorganism which are present on your object or which are present on the your dosage form. Generally, suppose we want to kill the microorganism from the powders, then we have to keep that dusting powder into the autoclave. So in the autoclave, we can sterilize your powders. So your powder will be remain as it is. It will not get any affected, or only the microorganism present in the dusting powder will get killed. Or we can use the ultraviolet light, and we can pass that light through your container, and your microbes will be get killed. Then generally the dusting powder is having the different functions, like it can be act as a lubricating agent, it can act as a protective agent, it can act as an adsorbent, it can be act as an antiseptic, it can be utilized as an astringent, it can be utilized as an antiperspirant. So there are the different you can say uses of this dusting powders, but depending on your content of that powder we will get the different uses. Suppose we are utilizing the antiseptics inside your powders, then your powder will act as antiseptics. Suppose you have added the another ingredients as an adsorbing agent, then your powder will be act as an adsorbent also. Regarding the packaging of dusting powders, there are the so many plastic type of containers are there we can utilize for the filling of the dusting powders. Then what is meant by the insufflations? Generally those powders which are we are utilizing for the cavity of your bodies. For example, for the ear purpose, suppose you have prepared any powder. Suppose you have prepared any powder for the nose purpose, for the throat purpose, for the tooth purpose, as well as for the vaginal purpose. So it means when we are preparing the powder specifically to apply into the body cavity, then this kind of powders are called as the insufflations. Generally, such kind of insufflations or this kind of powders are applied by using the specific devices. Then that devices is called as the insufflator. Okay. See, this is the one instrument. It is called as the insufflator. Whenever at the specific site of your body cavity we want to apply the any powder, then that can be applied by using this kind of instrument. So this instrument is having the rubber back behind and one tube. So with the help of that tube, we can suck the powder inside this instrument, and when we are squeezing the rubber back, then your powder will be thrown out by using this insufflator. Then Doche's powders. These kind of products are completely soluble into the water, and prior to administration of that powder, we have to dissolve it into the cup of water or the glass of water. When such kind of sachets are there, or when such kind of powders are there which are administered by dissolving into the water, then this kind of powders are called as the Dutch powder. Then dentifrices powder means those powders which are we are utilizing for the cleaning of your teeth, like tooth powder of Colgate, so on. Then triturations. Trituration means what? When we have prepared any powder by just simply mixing it in the mortar and pestle, then it is called as the trituration powders. It means we have just utilized the mortar and pestle for the mixing of that powder. Then these are called as the triturations. Then what is meant by the geometric dilutions? Now geometric dilution means, suppose we want to provide the any drug in the form of powder, like potent drug is there. So that potent drug is cannot be administered directly. So in this case, we have to mix that potent drug with a any kind of normal diluting material. Suppose we want to give the any XYZ drug and which is very potent. So as such that drug cannot be given. So first of all we have to mix that drug with the another diluents like talc we can use, and then after that we have to dilute that drug in the dry form or in the powder form itself. Then while mixing the that potent drug, suppose we are having the 1 gram drug, and we want to prepare the number of doses of that drug. Suppose for mixing of that drug, you just take the from 10 gram, just take the 1 gram of that drug, and here we have to take the diluent. So we can take the diluent like 2 part of the diluent and 1 part of the drug, and just mix it thoroughly. Then again you add the some amount of the drug, and again you add the your some diluent, then mix it properly. It means slowly, suppose we are mixing your potent drug with the diluting material, and you are preparing the bulk amount or the large amount of the powder, then this is called as the geometric dilution. Then effervescent powders are there. The best example of effervescent powder is the your ENO powder. So in the definition, we can say that mixture of organic acid and alkali effervesces when subjected to the water due to the reaction between the acid and the base. Then there is the evolution of the CO2 is takes place. So in the effervescent powder, we are providing the acid and base in the dry form. When this mixture is when this mixture is come in contact with the water, or it exposes to the H2O molecules, then it can cause the liberation of the CO2 because of the reaction between the acid and base. So in this case, there is the production of the effervescence takes place. So because of that, the powder is given name as a effervescent powder. See here, when you are dissolving the ENO into the water, then it produces the bubbles or the effervescence. So this kind of procedure is called as the effervescence, or because of that we have given name as a effervescent powder. The example of effervescent powders are citric acid, tartaric acid, and sodium bicarbonate and bicarbonate. Generally in the ENO, we are having the tartaric acid, citric acid, and sodium bicarbonate. Generally, it is utilized as with the liberated carbon dioxide has the following advantages. Like it masks the bitter and nauseous taste, it promotes the gastric secretions, it acts as a carminative and psychological impression at the patient. Then sometimes we can prepare the effervescent granules also. So this powder are also there, and effervescent granules are also there. The effervescent granules means the particle size is little bit larger than your powders. So that's why they are called as the effervescent granules. So such kind of effervescent granules can be prepared by the two methods, that is wet granulation method and dry method. Generally, for the preparation of the granules of effervescent powder, we are using the alcohol. Just take the acid and base powder and mix the alcohol and make the bolus mass and pass it through the sieve, then you will get the granules. So this is called as the wet method. And then sometimes we can use the dry method. Dry method means by using the heating. So in this case, take the acid and base powder and heat it on the your burner, and it will cause the liberation melting of that material. When it is melted, then make the bolus mass, and then that bolus mass you pass through the sieve. So by this way also we can prepare the effervescent granules. These are the various containers we are utilizing for the packaging of your powder. Then what kind of powders problem are there? Suppose we are comparing the powders with the tablet, or when we are comparing your powders with any other type of dosage form, then what are the, we can say, uh, problems associated with your powder dosage form, or what are the disadvantages along with your powder dosage form? Now the first problem is regarding your hygroscopic and deliquescent nature of your powders. When we are preparing any powder for the oral dosage form purpose, or whether you are utilizing as a externally your powders, So in this case, suppose your powder are hygroscopic in nature or they are deliquescent in nature, then I have already discussed that when we are using the such kind of hygroscopic powder, then this kind of powders may cause the absorption of the moisture from the environmental, and they can cause the development of the microorganism. Or sometimes, suppose we are adding any drug along with such powder, then that drugs may get deteriorated because the presence of the moisture. So this is the another one problem. Then suppose your powder is deliquescent in nature. Deliquescent means what? When that powder is come in contact with the moisture present in the environment, then that kind of powders will get melted. Then your solid powder will get converted into the liquid state. So such kind of powder are very much difficult to apply on your skin or to take administered by oral route. So that's why this is the biggest problem of your powder, that we cannot supply your powder as the powder is having the hygroscopic nature or the deliquescent nature. It means such two type of powders are very difficult to prepare in the powder oral dosage form. Then effervescent powder are there. When we are preparing the effervescent powder, and suppose during administration or during transplantation that effervescent powder have exposed to the water molecule, then your total powder will be wasted because it will get reacted in the presence of water. Your acid and base will get reacted, and there itself it will liberate the CO2, and that powder will be wasted. Then some eutectic mixtures are there. When your powder is having the tendency to get liquefy, when is when it is mixed or rubbed with pressure. So such kind of powder are having the melting points than your room temperature. Means they are having the lower melting point than your room temperature. For example, menthol is there. It is having the low melting point than your environmental temperature. So at the lower temperature itself, they will get liquefy or the melt. So such kind of powders or such kind of material we cannot supply in the form of open powders. Then some potent drugs are there which are having the very potent action in the small dose. Such kind of drugs are very difficult to supply in the oral dosage form or the oral powder. Then some incompatible salts are there. Suppose you are mixing the number of ingredients and you are preparing the powders for the treatment purpose. So in that case, we should have the idea that which ingredients are suitable with each other. Sometimes some ingredients are not suitable each other. They can react with each other and they can form the third substance. So by this way, we have to identify the compatibility of that all the ingredients. So it is difficult to formulate the such kind of dosage forms having the ingredients with the incompatibility with each other. Some explosive mixtures are also there. Some material which are having the ability to get oxidized and to get the explode. So in this case, we cannot prepare the such kind of mixture. Then regarding the particle size, when we are preparing the powders, then particle size should be very small. Otherwise, it will take too much time to get the dissolution and you will get the very late your effect of that powder. So the dissolution rate of your powder is depending on the size of your particle. Suppose you are having the small particle, then that particles will get quickly dissolve and you will get the effect. Then another problem of your powder is that if you are preparing the very fine powder, then that fine particles are having that less tendency to get dissolved, or they will remain float on the your vehicle. Suppose you are dissolving your powder into the cup of water. In that case, suppose the fine particles are there in your powder, they cannot be dissolved or they will not get wetted by your vehicle or by your water because of their suspendability property. So it is quite difficult to dissolve the such kind of powders very easily, or it will take too much time to get wet and then after that they will get dissolved. So for that purpose, the powder's particle size should be moderate. It should not be too much coarse or it should not be too much fine. Then another problem of powder is the uniform distribution. Suppose you are preparing the powder and you are adding the number of ingredients. Suppose you are prepared a powder with the 3 to 4 ingredients. So while mixing that ingredients, it is quite difficult. Suppose one of the ingredient is not mixed properly, then the dose of that powder will not have the accurate quantity of or the equal quantity of all the ingredients. Then regarding the penetrability, penetrability means passing of the powder through your skin. Suppose your powder is having the very small particle size, then it will have the very good penetrability through your nasal cavity. Then particle size determination. For the powders, suppose you are preparing the powders, then what is the size of that particles? So the determination of that particle size can be done by using the different method. First method is the sieving method. So we can use the different sieves to find out the particle size. So depending on the particle size, we can choose the different types of sieves, and then we can find out the size of that particle in micron. Then one instrument is there that is called as the Coulter counter instrument. So this instrument determines the volume of distribution of the particles, and by using the volume of that particle, it can give you the idea about the size of that particle. Some other modern methods are nowadays utilized to determine the particle size of your drug. So microscopic analysis is there. By using the microscope also we can find the particle size of your powder. Then sedimentation technique is also there. Then light scattering technology is there. This is the today's modern technology. Then permeability method is there. Laser diffraction analysis is there. Laser holography is there, and electronic particle counters are also there. So nowadays modernization is takes place, and we are using the laser technology for the measuring the size of your particles. Generally, we are preparing the powders by a very general technique. Like we have to take your particles, your all the ingredients. As per the formula, first of all, you have to measure the weight of that ingredients. Then after measuring, we have to reduce the size of that material just with the help of trituration method, or just by using the mortar and pestle. We have to reduce the particle size, or we have to maintain the uniform size. Then for all the ingredients, after weighing, we can reduce the size in the mortar and pestle. Then after that, we can pass it through the sieves. After passing through the sieves, suppose some coarse particles are remain on your sieve. Again, that coarse particle we can grind with the help of your mortar and pestle. Then after that, again we can pass it through the sieve, and then finally we can mix it thoroughly with the help of pestle. So the uniform mixing is important in your powders. So by this way we can prepare your powder, and finally after the achieving the uniform mixing, we can pack it into the your suitable container. Then some techniques are used for the reduction of the particle size. Suppose we are having the very coarse particles, then we can reduce the size of that particles. So trituration is a method there. By using the trituration also, we can reduce the particle size. Simply take the mortar and pestle and add your powders. Just by just rotation of your pestle, you can reduce the particle size. Then pulverization method is there. By using the your mortar and pestle itself, we can reduce the size of your particles. Then levitation method is there. In the levitation method, first of all, you have to dissolve your powder into the suitable solvent, and after that, we have to evaporate that solvent slowly, and we have to mix it while evaporation of that solvent. Then you can reduce the size of that particles. Then mechanical mixing is there, and hand mixing is there. So these are the different types of mixing technique is there for the mixing of your powders. So nowadays instruments are available for mixing of your powders. Then mortar and pestle is there for mixing of your powder. Then spatulation is there. It means with the help of spoon we can mix your powders. Then sieving is there. We can use the sieves also for mixing of your powders. At a time your ingredients are there. You can take the ingredients one by one. You can add through the sieve. Then tumbling is there. With the help of tumbler, we can mix your powder. Tumbler is nothing but the one type of box or the cylindrical chamber is there. Just add your powders and shake it vigorously.